The greatest lie of the modern age is that you belong entirely to yourself. We have been conditioned to believe that our lives are a private project, a blank canvas where the only valid brushstrokes are our own desires, our own ambitions, and our own personal growth. We are told that we are the sole architects of our destiny, completely untethered from the ground beneath our feet, or the people standing beside us. But this radical independence is a quiet cage. It promises freedom, yet it often delivers only a deep, echoing isolation. We have gained the right to do whatever we want, but in the process, we have forgotten how to be needed. If you have ever reached the peak of a personal mountain, a promotion, a solo trip, a fitness goal, only to find that the view felt strangely hollow, you have touched the pulse of this paradox. Maybe you've noticed that the more you focus on finding yourself, the more elusive that self seems to become. You probably think that your unhappiness is a result of not having enough of what you want, but what if the real source of your restlessness is that you aren't giving life what it requires of you? What if the I is only half of the story, and the we is the missing piece of the puzzle? By the end of this exploration, you will understand that your life is not just a quest for personal satisfaction, but a response to a calling. In the next few minutes, we will bridge the gap between the hyper-individualism of the West and the deep collectivism of the East. You will see why the I and the we are not enemies, but two sides of the same coin. You will understand that morality isn't a fixed set of rules, but a living dialogue between your rights and your duties. Most importantly, you will see how embracing your Dharma, what life wants from you, is actually the most direct path to the peace you've been chasing. To understand where we are, we must first look at the two different mirrors humanity uses to see itself. In places like the United States or Germany, the mirror is highly individualistic. In these societies, the I is the hero of the story. Individualism means that the smallest unit of reality is the person. Your goals, your happiness, and your unique expression are the highest virtues. It's a world of, what do I want from life? It is a beautiful, vibrant way of living that has given us the Bill of Rights, the moon landing, and the courage to break free from oppressive traditions. But when taken to its extreme, individualism turns into a desert. It turns the people around us into supporting characters in our own movie, rather than fellow travelers. On the other side of the world, in places like India, China, or Singapore, the mirror is collectivistic. Collectivism means that the smallest unit of reality is the group, the family, the community, the society. In these cultures, the we is the hero. The primary question isn't what do I want, but what does my family need? What does my duty require? There is a profound sense of Dharma, an ancient concept suggesting that we each have a place in the cosmic order, a set of responsibilities that we are born into. This way of life offers a safety net of belonging that the West can barely imagine. It provides a sense of purpose that doesn't depend on your mood or your latest achievement. But, just as individualism can become a desert, collectivism can become a weight, a pressure to conform that can stifle the unique spark of the soul. Imagine a young man in a bustling Western city, perhaps Seattle or Berlin. He is successful, he is free, and he spends his weekends exactly how he chooses. Yet when he calls his parents, he feels a strange guilt, and when his neighbor asks for help, he feels a flicker of resentment because his me time is being invaded. He is living the dream of the I, but he is starving for the weight of a we. Now imagine a woman in a village in rural India. Her days are dictated by the needs of her elders, her children, and the local temple. She never has to wonder if she belongs. Her place is cemented in the bedrock of her community. She is the heart of the we, but she sometimes looks at the horizon and wonders who she might have been if she had ever been allowed to ask what I wanted. These two worlds aren't just different cultures, they are two different moralities. In an individualistic society, morality is often about not infringing on the rights of others. It is a defensive morality. As long as I don't hurt you, I can do whatever I want. But in a collectivistic society, morality is about fulfilling your obligations to others. It is an offensive morality. It is not enough to just not hurt your parents. You have a moral duty to care for them. It is not enough to not steal from your neighbor. You have a moral duty to ensure they are fed. Can you feel the shift in tension? One is about boundaries, the other is about bonds. This tension is where the Dharma of our lives is found. Life is a constant conversation between these two forces. Think about your own work. If you view your job only through the lens of, what is this doing for my career? Is this making me rich? Am I passionate about this? You are trapped in the I. You are vulnerable to every fluctuation of the market and every dip in your motivation. But if you shift the lens and ask, what does this project need from me? How does my work serve the people around me? You suddenly tap into a source of energy that is independent of your ego. You move from being a consumer of life to a contributor to it. We see this most clearly in the realm of parenting and family. In a hyper-individualistic world, children are often seen as an experience or an accessory to a well-lived life. We ask if we are ready for them, as if they are a luxury car. But the moment that child is in your arms, the I dies a necessary death. That infant doesn't care about your self-actualization or your weekend plans. That child represents the ultimate we. They demand your duty. They demand your dharma. And strangely, it is in that total surrender of the I that many parents find the most profound meaning they have ever known. Why is it that the most sacrificial acts of our lives are often the ones that make us feel the most alive? Perhaps it is because the universe itself is not a collection of isolated parts, but a web of relationships. From the subatomic particles that cannot exist without their counterparts to the galaxies held together by gravity, nothing in nature lives for itself alone. A tree does not eat its own fruit. It offers it to the world, and in doing so, it ensures the survival of its species. The sun does not shine for its own warmth. It burns so that a planet millions of miles away can bloom. When we insist on living only for I, we are essentially trying to swim against the current of the entire cosmos. We are trying to be an island in an ocean that knows no borders. The broken village we often lament in modern society is a direct result of the I becoming too heavy. When we prioritize our own convenience over the duty of being a good neighbor, the community thins out. When we prioritize our own happiness over the hard work of maintaining a marriage or a friendship, the social fabric tears. We think we are making ourselves happier by removing these burdens, but we are actually removing the very structures that hold us up. A bridge is only useful because it is anchored to something other than itself. If a bridge decided it wanted to be free and detached from the banks, it would no longer be a bridge. It would just be a pile of wood floating toward the sea. As we look at the rising noise of our society, the social media outrage, the political division, the pursuit of status, we can see the I screaming for attention. We are all trying to prove that we are special, that we are right, that we are the center of the universe. But what if we stopped screaming? What if we took a breath and asked, what is being asked of me right now? In your conflict with your partner, instead of asking, how can I win? Ask, what does this relationship need to heal? In your community, instead of asking, what can these people do for me? Ask, where can I be of service? This isn't about being a martyr. It's about being a member. The pendulum of history is always moving. We have spent the last few centuries swinging toward the I, and for good reason. We needed to escape the shadows of tribalism and the chains of unchosen destinies. But as we reach the furthest edge of that swing, we are starting to feel the chill of the void. We are starting to realize that a life with no duties is a life with no weight, and a life with no weight just blows away in the wind. The we is calling us back, not to the old oppressive collectivism of the past, but to a new, conscious belonging. This is the shift in perspective. Your life is not a problem to be solved, but a role to be played. You are a son or a daughter, a friend, a citizen, a protector of the earth. These are not just labels, they are your Dharma. When you embrace what life wants from you, the anxiety of not doing enough begins to fade. You no longer have to invent a purpose for your life because your purpose is already written in the needs of the people around you. You don't have to find yourself in a vacuum. You find yourself in the eyes of the person you are helping, the child you are raising, and the community you are building. So as you go back into your world today, try a small experiment. For just 1 hour, put the I in the back seat. Don't ask what you want from the day. Instead, look at your surroundings and ask, what does this moment require of me? Maybe it requires a kind word to a stressed coworker. Maybe it requires your full, undivided attention for your partner. Maybe it requires you to pick up a piece of trash on the sidewalk. Notice how it feels to be a servant of the we rather than a slave to the I. We are all interconnected, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not. The air you breathe was exhaled by a tree. The food you eat was grown by a hand you'll never shake. The language you use was shaped by ancestors you'll never meet. You are already part of the we. The only question is whether you will live in harmony with that truth or in resistance to it. Bond with each other. Be nice to each other. Not because it's a polite rule, but because it is the fundamental law of our existence. You are the I, yes, but you are the I that belongs to the we. And in that belonging, you will finally find the freedom you've been looking for. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share with others for more.